Hi, katzcradul here. I have watched with great interest as some of my YouTube friends have been making meals in jars. They look just beautiful and everyone says they're delicious. Here, my friend Deb from the Perbain channel is making, I believe it's minestrone soup in a jar. Look how beautiful that is, all layered up there. And she will walk you step by step through that process, and she has also shown some other meals in jars and has included the recipes and even has attributed to the person where she found the recipes originally. Also, my friend WestCoastPrepperRN has jumped on the bandwagon, and she is making lots of beautiful meals in jars. And I saw a video of hers today where she posted several different recipes, one for stroganoff, one for a stew. Anyway, look how beautiful they are. All these meals in jars ready to go. The only thing you need to do is add water, and then most of them require that you simmer them or bake them for about 20 or 30 minutes. So it's real easy. You just layer the ingredients up, and you either put an oxygen absorber in the jar to pull a vacuum on it, or you use the attachment to your food saver machine to draw the vacuum. And then they're good for like 7 to 10 years, a long time. But what a great thing to have made up so that when you come in the afternoon, you can just pour boiling water over that or bake it and have a meal that's ready to go. I decided that I was going to try to make some too, but when I went to look for a couple of the ingredients, a couple of them seemed expensive to me, especially the quick cook beans. And I'm sure that they're very convenient, and I'm sure they're very delicious, and the product is great, and I even love the company that sells them. But I just felt they were a little bit out of my price range. They sell for $15.69 for a number 10 can, which has 19 servings in it, and that's about 84 cents a serving. Instead, I could use my own dry beans, and I don't have my receipt, so I can't tell you exactly how much they are, but they were less than $2 for this bag. So I'm just going to, let's just say that bag is $2, and there's 25 servings in that bag. That's 8 cents a serving. So 84 cents a serving compared to 8 cents a serving is a huge difference to me. Now, I am going to have to do a little bit to my beans to get them ready like the commercially purchased ones would be. I'm going to have to cook them, and I'm going to have to dehydrate them. So that would add a few cents to it. Let's just say 2 cents a serving. So still we're talking 10 cents a serving as opposed to 84 cents a serving. So what I did was I took my beans and I picked through any debris that was in them. Mine didn't happen to have any. Rinsed them, and then I covered them with boiling water in a large bowl, and then covered that bowl with a dinner plate overnight. Went to bed. The next morning I woke up, I drained the beans off, I rinsed them one more time, and then I put them to cook in my pressure cooker. Now, you could just cook yours in a regular pot on the stove, just cook them until they're done. It usually takes a couple of hours to do that. In my pressure cooker, it takes 6 minutes, so it's a really quick thing to cook, especially if you've pre-soaked them. Now, I looked on the commercially prepared freeze-dried beans, and all it says is beans on there. They don't have any salt or any seasonings or that kind of thing. Well, in my own home, for my own use, I can season them however I want. So I did put salt and a little bit of cumin and garlic powder and onion powder, little red pepper flakes, that kind of thing. I also, because I was cooking in my pressure cooker, my electric pressure cooker, beans are one of those things that kind of foam when they cook, and they really recommend that you add just a little bit of fat to that to keep the foaming down. So I did put just about a couple of teaspoons of bacon drippings in there to keep the foam from getting up into the mechanism of the pressure cooker. But you could cook these on the stove with no salt, no seasoning, no anything, and just have beans. I just know that everything I would use them for, I would want them seasoned anyway, that it would just add flavor, so that's what I did. After my beans were cooked, I used a slotted spoon to lift them out of the liquid and put them in a bowl to cool just slightly. Then I got my dehydrator trays and sprinkled the beans all over the trays, trying not to layer them up, putting them just in a single layer. Occasionally some of the beans that had broken up would fall through, but they just ended in the bottom of the dehydrator, which is no big deal. They're going to dehydrate there as well. And that one bag cooked filled up 4 trays on my dehydrator. So next time I know that I can get 2 bags of beans on 8 trays and really better utilize that dehydrator. I just wasn't sure since it was my first time. And I let them dry overnight, and a couple of hours into the next morning I rotated the trays the next morning because the bottom tray just felt just slightly not as dry as the others, and this is what they look like dried. I was so pleased with how they came out. I'll show you a close-up so you can get a little better view of how they look. They just came out great. They look good. They taste good. If I had to tell you how they tasted dry, I guess the closest thing I could liken them to is maybe like a corn nut is how they taste, and you certainly could eat them like this. You'd probably need to drink lots of water. They are crunchy. I mean, if you've got teeth that are fragile, I might not do it, but it tastes very similar to a corn nut, and I found them very pleasant to eat. I took them off the trays and put them in a large bowl just to cool even further. And I was very surprised at how quickly they came off the trays. I didn't have to pry them off at all, only the ones that got stuck in between the little slots. And the trays were really clean. It's going to be very easy to clean. I thought it might be a mess, but here I just show you. I haven't washed this tray at all, and they just came right off. I decided I was going to store them in canning jars, and I got some canning jars from somebody not long ago, and mixed in them were some kind of miscellaneous jars that might have been old mayonnaise jars. So I decided just to use those to vacuum seal these beans in. I put my funnel in and got a scoop and began scooping them in, and that bag of beans ended up making a quart and a pint, which I guess is actually 3 pints of quick cook beans, minus 2 tablespoons, which are saved out in the little bowl to test and see how they would rehydrate. Perbain boiled some water for me. We poured it over them and we let them sit for about 20 minutes. Now on the quick cook beans you buy commercially, it doesn't say that they would rehydrate in 20 minutes. It says they cook in 20 minutes, and I think that would probably be more true for these as well. After 20 minutes, oh, here's how it looks when I just poured the water over them. My eyesight isn't as good as Preparation's. She said she saw the water level immediately begin to go down and the beans begin to rehydrate. I couldn't quite see that. But after 20 minutes, the beans did rehydrate fairly well. I popped them in the microwave for about 30 seconds in order to taste them, and they were much softer than they are dry. There was still in the center of some of the beans just a slight, I could feel that they did not quite yield to my bite like they were when I took them just out of the pressure cooker. Here they are completely rehydrated, but I know that if I threw these in a soup or stew for 20 minutes, they would be just exactly like they were when they came out of the pressure cooker when I cooked them. I am so pleased with this, and I'll be doing another batch tonight and probably many more after that. I don't store a lot of canned beans on my shelf because it's just not an efficient use of my space. Those beans are fully plumped and they're in liquid, and it's just so much easier for me to store them dry. But this is a different story. This will be so convenient for me when I want to make meals in jars, or if I want to just throw a handful of beans into a pot of soup, or if I want to throw a handful of beans into stew. It's just so nice. It's not like having to wait so long to cook a dry bean, which takes a good while, and it takes a good bit of energy. So this will be an energy savings to me as well. I'm really excited about this. Can't wait to try black beans and pinto beans and navy beans. I just can see lots of applications for the use. I hope you give it a try and that it inspires you to think in creative ways. Cat's Cradle.